my sense is the Epstein files are a long ways off, and I hope that we get them. I hope that we get them soon. My fear is that because the folks and characters involved in the Epstein kerfuffle, if you will, are alive and well today, and you have a coalition to hold together. We saw this in the Ed Martin affair that's playing out. Ed Martin, who I believe is the best person to be D.C. prosecutor, it was tanked by a single Republican, Tom Tillis, not voting for his nomination out of committee. And then we saw he could have been removed by John Thune, but the head of the Senate, but was not. And my fear is because the Epstein story is a bipartisan one, there may be a political calculus that full declassification of the Epstein files may not allow Trump to get a budget done, may jeopardize Trump's international affairs relations at a time when we're renegotiating the world order. So I was optimistic.
Help me out. I get the international one. There may be names on that list that'll be ticked off that they were released. But you think there are current House members, senators that are on the list that would kind of exclude them from, and they would have to be on the GOP side, they would exclude them from possibly voting?
Yes, I don't see Epstein as a partisan figure. Obviously, he traveled with Bill Clinton, but the fact is almost like all lobbyists or access agents, they are active on all sides of the aisle. And the fact is I don't think that you're necessarily going to see a huge number of Republican senators and congressmen who are, say, on the Lolita Express flight logs or on the client list. You're going to see pass-through money. You're going to see, intelligence reports that either go to Congress or that go to their large donors or significant constituents. This is a business enterprise that Epstein was involved in. He was funding institutions like MIT, investing in companies and airlines. He was running a giant financial portfolio, and anyone who is touched by that is going to get stained. And you had this lobbying effort through the Epstein network that could potentially humiliate a significant portion of the GOP, especially and anything that gets a stain on that is going to drive a wedge between Trump and Congress. And the issue is how do you even negotiate that without declassifying it first? And the question is I think there's just a lot of internal political calculus, much more when it comes to the Epstein files than when it comes to JFK.
The thought, you open up a can of worms for me. I hope my audience is intrigued as I am. So the Epstein list likely has been and is being held back because there are so many on that list who are politicians that you got to figure out where your leverage is as the people opening and delivering. You got to figure out where your risks are and where your leverages are. Is that it?
Yeah, among other reasons, I think that's a very significant one. Epstein got his start during the Republican era of Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush, when he was involved in Iran-Contra and involved in the Ronald Reagan CIA National Security Council effort to sidestep the Democrats' bar on running guns to the Nicaraguan Contras under what was called the Bolin Amendment. And then the Reagan administration's National Security Council circumvented that by running guns and dealing drugs and running the smuggling network out of Mena, Arkansas, and out of Miami. Epstein was involved in that arms running operation. He was working with the Adnan Khashoggi network, the Saudi network there, which was it came to obviously play a major role in U.S. news when a different Khashoggi was later killed by the Saudis in the embassy there. But the fact is Epstein then played a significant role in the relocation of Southern Air Transport, a CI proprietary airline, from Miami directly to Columbus, Ohio, the Wexner network up there. These are all Republican things. In 1985, right when Wexner's tax attorney Arthur Shapiro was killed in a gangland murder, that was when Epstein linked up and was given the power of attorney over that financial empire. What I'm trying to say here is there are an awful lot of folks from the Ronald Reagan, George Bush national security state who are still around, alive, and highly influential today. And I think a full given that Epstein was clearly, at the very least, CIA, to say nothing about foreign intelligence. We know he was CIA because Alex Acosta, the prosecutor, when he was up for Department of Labor and attacked for why he didn't go after Epstein harder, he said, I was told to back off because he belonged to intelligence. Our own Justice Department said that he was intelligence.
So, yeah, but when did, so he's, are we suggesting that he was CIA informant but this happened later after he was busted for being a disgusting human being? Is that how it went down?
I think he was a career access agent in that respect. And I think it spans 3 decades at least. Again, the 1980s was a time we were at the height of the Cold War. There was a lot of dirty deeds that were happening by the national security state. We saw this in the JFK files with Robert Mayhew, who was Epstein's predecessor. We saw the CIA planning to use brothels and prostitutes and set up Hollywood productions.
Work with me. Okay, just take me. So there's a lot of people who are still influential politically who are on the list. They're alive and well and kicking and maybe influential in D.C. right now. So what? Why the hell aren't we prosecuting? The guy was a pedophile, and he was bringing people, some of these people who are, okay, they're influential people. They need to be prosecuted too. Is it just the overwhelming number? I mean, they found a way to prosecute a couple thousand January 6 folks at one time.
Eric, I totally agree with you. I'm calling for a release of the Epstein files.
I'm trying to get inside the mind of these folks.
Well, my sense is there's a political calculus. And again, I don't know. I haven't, I've talked to a few folks in Washington about this, and I'm making my own opinion based on how I'm reading the tea leaves. But the fact is I think that there is a limited amount of political capital that the White House has to throw around when they're taking on so many things at once. They're taking on USAID. They're taking on the big, beautiful bill in the budget. They're taking on the tariff issue. And the whole time they're being hit from their own side, by their own members of Congress on the GOP, by the Chamber of Commerce when it comes to the trade affairs, by various, we saw Michael Waltz, the National Security Council, the National Security Advisor was just, it looks like demoted from that position because of disagreements over foreign policy. And, in the thick of all this, my fear is that these political calculations in terms of getting schmutz on your own side, so to speak, may be part of it. I don't know, but that is, I would not be surprised if we find that later in time.
I know you don't know, but are we talking senators? Are we talking former cabinet members or current, who knows, whatever? Or are we talking
donors as well?
Big, see, that's what bothers me, Mike, and that is what really bothers me. It's likely some really, really deep-pocketed donors, and they're worried about getting those folks prosecuted and losing that money fund, that money trail.
And again, I don't know that. The issue is that this has been an administration of unprecedented transparency. And it's one of the things that I love. I think this has been the best 120 days of a presidency this country has ever had. And they're so transparent about so much. They let us in on their meetings. They talk to us every day. They're responsive to the base. But on this thing, it's zipped-lipped. And nobody wants to touch it. Nobody wants to say anything publicly.
It's that
despite
big,
having made such an issue of it on the campaign trail.
It's that big. Well, they probably Pam probably looked and go, holy, you know what? And Cash is going, what? And Bongino and Mr. President, he's probably like, okay, let's take our time. So yeah, Mike, really good. I appreciate you sticking around for a second block. I appreciate your time. Mike Benz, everybody.
Thanks, sir.